Don't realize how much stuff comes in one of those booster packs until you open it all up. There's a lot of things here. So we're going to get right into them. This time we're taking a look at the Queen Vessel Prime. And let's get started. And there's our dial for the Borg octahedron. And I'd like to point out, way to go WizKids, because this happens multiple times throughout the expansion. Why they just didn't call it the Borg Diamond like it's called and everything else. They went with octahedron. So on this page we have octahedron, and on this side we have octahedron. Awesome quality control, guys. That said, we're back to our normal Borg maneuver dial. It wouldn't be true Borg without the awesome straight maneuvers. Then we have our Borg octahedron, spelled correctly again. And our basic standard Borg maneuver. And there's our card for Queen Vessel Prime. It's unique. Borg faction. It's also a Borg octahedron. We have a attack of 6, 0 evade, 8 hull, 7 shield. Very durable little thing. We have 2 Borg upgrades, tech upgrade, a weapon upgrade, and 2 crew slots for 42 points. We have target lock, scan, and regenerate. And our ability is, during the roll attack dice step of the combat phase, your ship or a friendly ship within range 1 to 2 of your ship may spend a scan token from beside it to gain +1 attack dice. Kind of interesting that this is like a fleet effect. This is the command ship, this is the Queen's vessel, so it kind of makes sense that it would have like a fleet flagship type ability, which it does. So kind of very fitting. And there we have our generic Borg starship, the octahedron. Gonna say that every time they misspell it. You got 1 less shield. You lose 1 of your crew slots for 40 points. For our captains, we have the Borg Queen. Your captain skill varies, but it starts at a 7. She has 1 elite talent slot and is 5 points. At the start of the game, or if this card replaces another captain, you remove all drone tokens from that captain card, place 7 drone tokens on this card. I'm not going to go into how the drone tokens work in this one. If you want an overview of how they work, go check out my Borg Sphere video. Near the end of the video I do a whole run through of how the Borg tokens work and how to keep track of them. As an action, target a friendly ship at range 1 to 2. Choose 1 upgrade on that ship and perform that upgrade's action as a free action this round. If the action requires spending drone tokens, spend 1 less drone token than required. Kind of a neat ability. The Borg Queen is also an admiral. And I'm not going to go into the whole spiel about admirals. You can check them out. I'm not sure. I believe it was the Enterprise refit video where I did a walkthrough on the admirals. In her admiral form, she gives us +2 to our captain skill. This has been debated on the forums, but the +2 to the captain skill is just that, +2 captain skill. You do not get to add an extra 2 drones to your captain. We still get the elite talent. She's still 5 points. And her ability just becomes a fleet action at that point instead of a normal action. Kind of a neat ability. Not sure if I would take her over the previous Borg Queen. I like the fact on the other Borg Queen that whenever a ship dies, she can take over command. Or whenever her ship dies, she can take over command of another ship. So, kind of a trade-off. Her ability on this one's pretty cool. I definitely like the fact that she can be an admiral. So, there's some potential there as well. Next up we have a tactical drone. And I noticed they removed the unique icon that was on the tactical drones in the last one, so I'm not sure if those were just a mistake. There were a couple typos on the previous ones. One of the other things of note is that the tokens also went back to having the star, where in the last expansion for Borg they actually had the command number on there, which is wrong because it changes, which is why they put the star on there. So I'm not sure if the tactical drone that we did get that was a unique was a misprint, or maybe just because his ability is different. I'm not sure. Anyway, this guy starts out as a 5 for 4 points. At the start of the game he gets 5 drone tokens. During the roll defense step of the combat phase, you can spend one of your drone tokens to force your opponent to roll one less defense dice. That one's kind of nice. And lastly, we have just another generic drone captain. He starts at a captain skill of 1. Borg with elite talents are always just scary, but our first one here is We Are the Borg. 6 points. During the modified defense step of the combat phase, you can discard this card and spend up to 3 drone tokens. Add 1 evade to your roll for each drone token you spent with this card. Interesting ability, it's a one-time use, does cost you some drones, but to give yourself that +3 evade, kind of nice, especially when most of the Borg ships have no agility to start with. Next up, we have Resistance is Futile. This one costs 7 points. And a wall of text here. During the modify attack dice step of the combat phase, you can discard this card and spend up to 3 drone tokens. To select a number of your attack dice equal to the number of drone tokens you spent with this card, these dice cannot be cancelled during the compare results of the combat phase. Basically, you roll your dice, you can discard this, you pick up to 3, depending on how many drones you sacrifice. So say you got 3 criticals, and or regular hits or whatever, depending on what weapon you're using. But then when your opponents roll, even if they roll, say you only hit 3 times, if they roll 6 evades, they can't evade the 3 dice that you pick. So those dice cannot be cancelled. So basically they're still going to get hit 3 times even if they roll 6 evades. In that example anyway. Has its uses, 7-point discard. Kind of pricey. Then again, all the Borg stuff is the ability to force damage through, and you get to pick and choose after you've rolled the dice. It's during the modify phase, so you can always choose not to use it if you didn't roll a good roll. So definitely it's something that you can save for when you absolutely need it. 7 points for a discard, like it's steep but not for Borg. For our crew upgrades, we have Magnus Hansen. 1 point. Whenever you're required to spend any number of drone tokens, you can discard this card and spend 1 less drone token. Basically lets you spend him instead of a normal drone. So for an extra point, you get to keep your captain skill 1 higher for a round. And it also gives you crewmen on board in case you need it for a certain scenario or something. So definitely useful if you have the extra point. I don't see a reason not to take him. Our weapon upgrade for this pack is the multi-kinetic neutronic mines. These have the potential to be extremely devastating to both your opponents and yourself if not used right. Thankfully they are unique, so you're not going to see any cloaked mine shenanigans of running 5 of these on a ship. They are 10 points, so cost prohibitive as well. It's a 1 use. As an attack, you discard this. You place a minefield anywhere within range 1 of your ship. And that is a lot of text, I'm just noticing. If you place the token on top of another ship, or if an enemy ship actually touches the field itself, you roll 4 attack dice, and any hit or crit affects every ship, including your own, within range 1 to 3 of this minefield. So it has a blast radius of range 3, which is just insane. Ships at range 1 of the minefield don't get to roll any defense dice. All other ships get to roll their full defense dice. And ships at range 3 actually add a defense die. So that might save you a little bit. It also costs 5 extra points for purchase for any non-Borg ship. Definitely a ridiculously powerful weapon. I think you're going to see it in use. Most of the Borg ships can take a hit from it, so they're going to drop it just to damage everything else. And at the same time, they can regenerate hits later. So I think you're definitely going to be seeing these used. They are really, really disgusting. And the only positive thing of them is that they have to drop them at range 1 and they have a range 3 blast. So if you can trigger them right when they drop them, it's going to hurt the Borg as much as it hurts you. For a tech upgrade this time, we have Power Node. It's 3 points. Whenever you perform a red maneuver, you can disable this card and 2 of your active shields and treat the maneuver as a white maneuver. Lets the Borg pull some of those 3 and 4 maneuvers on the dial without getting auxiliary power, which is definitely useful. Does require you to lower some shields, but they're going to come back, and with the hull being regenerated on a Borg ship, it's not as bad of a trade-off. For our Borg upgrades, first one we have here is transwarp signal. 4 points. You can discard this card to target a ship anywhere in the play area. That's powerful and disgusting in its own. You can remove a token, either a evasive, battle station, scan, or target lock from beside the ship. If you remove the target lock, you have to remove the corresponding one as well. This upgrade can only be purchased for Borg ships. No ship can be equipped with more than one, and it has no effect on species ships. The ability to pull a token away from any ship anywhere on the board is disgusting. No restrictions to range, no restrictions to if their shields are up or not. Granted, it's a one use, but it could save you, especially in those rounds. Possibly you're target locked and they have transbasic torpedoes aimed at you. You can drop their lock and buy yourself another turn or whatnot. So it definitely has its uses. Extremely powerful card for 4 points. Next up we have Borg assimilation tubules. For 8 points, we've seen this card before. As an action, you can disable this. You discard a drone and target a ship at range 1 to 2. You can steal a crew, tech, or weapon upgrade from the ship, even if it exceeds your restrictions, and then the item gets put on your ship with a disabled token. You cannot use this against species. Always a good card for the Borg if you're playing against people, especially like Federation, who use multiple upgrades. It's nice because you can just start stealing upgrades from them. Our last Borg upgrade for this pack is one I can't believe it took them this long to come up with. But it's our Borg Shield Matrix for 8 points. And every time your ship's hull or shields are damaged by the enemy ship, you put a Shield Matrix token on this card, up to 3 maximum. And it comes with 3 of the Shield Matrix tokens. No ship can be equipped with more than 1 Shield Matrix, and it has no effect against species ships. Now, what does the Shield Matrix do? Get our handy reference card here for the Shield Matrix tokens. A ship with at least 1 Matrix token on a Borg Shield Matrix upgrade gets the following rules. Each time you defend, you roll +1 defense dice for every Shield Matrix token on your ship, up to a max of 3. Whenever an enemy ship attempts to affect your captain or one of your upgrades, you roll 1 attack die for each Matrix token on your Shield Matrix upgrade. If you roll at least 1 hit or crit result, the attempt fails, and your crew or captain are ineffective. The little note on the end is great. If they're attempted this and it requires some kind of disable or discard on their part, even if this blocks it and it never happens, they still have to pay the requirement of disabling or discarding whatever. If the Shield Matrix upgrade is disabled, you don't gain any of the benefits anymore. If the Shield Matrix gets discarded for some reason, you also don't get the bonuses anymore, and you discard everything. So it has its uses. It's basically to represent the Borg adapting to things. I like the fact that your defense keeps increasing as they shoot you. Definitely a nice addition for the Borg. The pack comes with a couple extra additional rules cards as well. We have our standard Borg one, which talks about how regenerate works, how the spin maneuver works, talks about your Borg upgrades, and a brief explanation of the drone tokens. Again, it's really hard to get the hang of how these work by reading. The best way is to actually see it done. And if you check out my Borg Sphere video, like I said earlier, towards the end there's a walkthrough about how Borg tokens work. We also have an additional rules card for our admirals. Explains what benefits you get from admirals, what affects them, and how fleet actions work, and the admiral ID tokens and how they work. This one, again, I'm not going to go into depth on, but I do have it in the Enterprise refit video. You can go check that one out, and there's a big explanation on how the Admiral works towards the end of that video. So as I said at the beginning, tons of upgrades come with this one, lots of cards. You have all your various drone tokens that you're going to need for your captains. We have our minefield for the neutronic mines. We have our critical and auxiliary power tokens. There's a scan token. We have a couple disables, a couple shield tokens for the Borg shield matrix. We have our 7 normal shields back in the back there. Our fleet action and admiral token there. Target lock D1 this time. The mission this time around is collapse the transwarp network. It's kind of an interesting setup. Even though it comes with a Borg ship, it's the Federation who get to deploy first. And it's 1 Federation ship against 1 Borg octahedron. And look, it's spelled right. And the idea is the Borg ship has to destroy this transwarp network beacon here before the diamond can come in and kill it. The Federation player starts there, takes their first turn. At the beginning of the planning phase of the second turn, the diamond starts in the exact same spot as the Federation ship did. And the Federation ship basically has to blow up that node and get off the table. I'm going through these really quick. When the node blows up, there's a shockwave that blows through the map that is disgusting. It's 8 dice for each ship at range 1, 6 dice for each ship at range 2, 4 dice for each ship at range 3, and 2 dice for every ship beyond that. And then hits or crits go through and damage the ships as normal. You don't get any evasion. So not only does the Federation player have to get in and blow up the node, it also has to survive the blast and then get off the table. And the Borg's objective is to try to destroy the ship before it blows up the node. And the node actually has special rules in here somewhere where it's up here at the top. Where it has 5 hull, 5 shield, and it regenerates 2 every turn. So kind of a cool thing. I actually did get a chance to play this one, and the Federation ship got annihilated in the blast wave because it was at range 1 when it took out the node. Definitely a cool mission. We'll say this model is amazing. Another one that's got a lot of detail, but really, really crappy paint. This came out right about the time I stopped playing the HeroClix game, so I never actually got to see the model. As you can see on there, it's got lots of detail, the little hole cutouts in the ship. Don't think I'm going to be able to light this one up though. If I am, it's going to take a lot of creative use because just not finding a way to do it. But really cool model, and it's absolutely huge too. I did not realize how big this thing was until I actually saw the package. The pictures just don't do it justice, and you see it next to something you know the size of, like a standard ship base. Yeah, it's huge. So, definitely a cool model though. Lots of little details in there for you to get in and paint. There's our Queen Vessel Prime base. Got that awesome 360-degree arc that the Borg are known for. And there we have our generic Borg octahedron. All in all, it's another really good pack. Lots of cool stuff for the Borg. Several really nice upgrades like the shield matrix. The fact that the Queen can be used as an admiral, though I still like the old Queen better. So that's still a toss-up on which of those you ended up using. The multi-kinetic neutronic mines are a really nice addition. The ship itself is really nice, so definitely think you're going to see these around. Maybe not as much as the tactical cube because it has more versatility. This one's more of a command ship. I see this getting more use in larger games where you're running this and multiple ships. Because of the points cost, I don't think you're going to run into that too much in a lower points game. But you may see this and a spear or different combinations like that come out. Maybe some of the scout cubes. Definitely a really cool ship. Anyone who's playing Borg needs to pick one of these up. Got a lot of cool things. The mission itself is fun to play, so definitely worth picking up. If you're a Fed player, worth picking up for the mission. If you're a Borg player, you'd be silly not to get it. I'm actually working on a few scenarios of my own to play just with our gaming group for fun stuff that involve a Borg invasion, so all these extra upgrades are always good for me to see. That's about it for this one, and we'll see you in the next video.